is up? Welcome into this Tuesday edition of Pushing the Pile, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Pete Prisco joins the show today, as he does every single Tuesday. We'll be breaking down his power rankings. A little later in the show, we're going to be going through our great debate segment. After that, drafting the best running backs of seasons of all time. Or is this just running backs?
Best running backs of all time.
Players of all time after that. And then starting off the show, though, with a little Monday Night Football recap, because it was a wild one. Broncos win 41-32. Jameis goes for almost 500 yards. This was like peak Jameis. I don't think we've ever seen a better Jameis Winston game, just in terms of what he brings to the table. He should really play every single primetime game. They're always electric when he's out there. 497 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, including 2 pick sixes.
He's the Babe Ruth of the NFL. Because you never know, is it going to be a home run or is it going to be a crippling interception?
No, he's like late career Mark McGwire. Remember when he was batting like 200, but he still had 50 home runs? And he would strike out or hit a home run.
Mark McGwire, white batting gloves.
As one of his former coaches told me, Jameis always wants to be the hero.
Yeah.
I kind of get that impression.
He asked God to have him stop throwing pick sixes.
That is the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, please bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 23 years since my last confession. Please bless me and not throw interceptions.
No more pick sixes.
He's a character out of a movie. He's a character that somebody created in like a writer's room, and now we get to see it. And in addition to that, they were talking about his arm talent. Obviously, they make a lot of noise about his arm talent. He was a baseball player, 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's one of those guys where you can say, he really does have a rocket arm. Yeah. And when he's trying to drive that ball in there in the red area to Njoku, before Njoku did the fadeaway catch, that ball got on Njoku so fast. He did split the defenders there. He does some special stuff. I got to give him credit. And he's got this Browns team playing hard and confident.
Okay, the last interception in the end zone, I mean, it's garbage time you shouldn't throw, but a lot of people were, impacted. Who'd you pick in that game?
Yeah, that was
Broncos.
Yeah, me too. We got lucky then.
Yeah.
That had to be, yeah.
But, okay, then you go to the pick six, the second one. I mean,
yeah.
What are you doing? But here's the thing about Jamie. You're going to – look, he's better than he's better than Deshaun Watson. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
And as Jameis almost has taken being Jameis to a point where he's making it not real anymore. Am I wrong?
Character. He is a character.
But he's always been a character.
But he's assumed it.
Right.
Like,
it's almost like
so far into it.
And people embraced it when it was real, and now it's almost not real. It's almost going over the top, and people are going to go, eh.
You said it, not me. Like 2-3 weeks ago, I had a tweet during one of his player intros, and I said, Jameis, we get it. Like,
I love him.
You're a caricature of yourself.
But you know how society is. You know how people are. When enough is enough, they will turn and flip it on you. Okay, Jameis. And I'm just getting ahead of the curve because I think he's become a caricature of himself.
Yeah,
I disagree.
He's always been.
I don't think he can go too far in one direction.
He wants to see how far it can go.
Exactly.
Like last night, 170 yards passing to the other team. They said that Deshaun Watson only threw for 170 yards.
It's the most yardage in a game ever between
two quarterbacks
from a quarterback counting the interception
to both teams.
Right. It is
750 yards, 770 yards.
But we're not talking about his play. I'm talking about him and the whole shtick and the whole
pre-games, asking God to stop throwing pick sixes.
I mean, it's almost become too much. And I like him. He's a good kid. But come on. And
I don't know him like that.
But I don't know him that well either. I've only dealt with him a couple of times. But you got to admit, it's almost become –
I've dealt with him a couple times.
I can tell you agree with
him. He wasn't a preacher.
I can tell Mike agrees with me. He just doesn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But I say it.
I still think it's authentically.
I don't.
I don't think he's trying to play up anything. He's just gotten to a point where he's completely comfortable to say this.
You're wrong.
You think he's playing it up?
You're dead wrong.
Yeah.
You think he's playing it up?
He prepares these speeches in front of the mirror.
Yeah. But he did that to his teammates before. He was doing this stuff to the people. Like,
and I'm not saying the religious part of it.
That's like he does it behind closed doors to people, and now he's just doing that out into the public.
And I'm not saying the religious part of it because whatever that's your choice. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the whole overall shtick. It's gotten a little.
We don't even have logos on our helmets.
Yeah, it's taken it and run with it, and more power to him because people are paying attention
It's
to
a
him.
cash cow.
But now it's a little over the top.
Here's the thing. He's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think that's up for debate. He gives teams chances to win games that aren't necessarily good teams all the time. He gives chances to lose games
You're
too,
right.
when you're a good team. Is the problem with Jameis and why he's kind of persona non grata for teams really going out there and trying to find a starting quarterback, is that he can have this game where it's just like, we should have won, we lost because of Jameis. But he also has games where we should have lost and we won because of Jameis. And that's why
do with
no
him?
one really wants to touch him. But he's so fun to watch that someone has to give him a chance.
Yeah, but what do you do with him in
Cleveland?
Cleveland?
I mean, they obviously can't pay him much. They're cap strapped. They're not going to be able to give him.
But is somebody going to pay him much?
He deserves somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15 to 20 million. He deserves at least what Gardner Minshew got.
I'll tell you this much. If he keeps doing these pregame speeches that are premeditated, he's going to have a podcast that's worth more than that because you know how these fans are.
Right.
If they get one taste of something they think is entertaining, and to your point, the guy's just going to play it up.
And then turn on him.
They will get turned. They all get turned on.
So, okay, Raiders.
Well, the thing is, it's going to be
fun.
whoever loses out the draft sweepstakes. We'll obviously decide that in the next 5 weeks, but it's whoever's drafted 6th that needs a quarterback, but can't find him. So it's like maybe like the Jets. I don't know. It's obviously like.
I mean, are the Jets with Jameis Winston any good? I mean, that's a legitimate question.
Are they better than Aaron Rodgers, Jets?
Well, he's better than Aaron Rodgers right now.
If you gave him Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, that would be
You also have to
be an explosive offense.
You also have to be a coach who's willing to take on the good and the bad, and you know that. What came out of that game last night too, for me, what the hell happened to the Broncos defense? And don't tell me it's just not having the corner there either.
No, some of it was.
Because Levi Wallace was terrible.
That's a big part of it.
But more than that, though, come on. Where was the 44 sacks that they piled up all during the year?
The Broncos offensive lines played great. They had great plans all season long for how to block guys like Myles Garrett. I mean, you saw it. They highlighted it a little bit on the broadcast, but it was basically.
No, I'm talking about the flip side of the Broncos. For a lot of that game, Jameis had all day to throw the ball, even when he held it like Jameis normally does.
Staring down receivers for 4 seconds before.
Yeah, I am Jameis.
Please God, let this be accurate.
They gave up points, but then they scored 14 themselves.
Yeah.
So it was a net 18 point.
But those are give them to you, Jameis Rosa. I mean, and look, Benito made a good play on that play, but he stared him down. I mean, he stared him down. It just that if I were the Broncos going into the bye, that would be a little concerning to me because of how dominant the defense had been.
How about Jerry Jeudy? A little revenge game.
Oh my gosh, some of the stats coming out of this game were insane. Jerry Jeudy most yards ever against a former team.
It was a Big 12 game.
5 yards. I mean, the first time he ever looked like. Yeah, first time he really ever had like a game. You know, Jerry Jeudy,
like WR1.
It's always like he has a route where people are like, oh, that's why he was there. He never even has had a game where it's, oh, they couldn't guard Jerry Jeudy this game. This was the first time. It was against his former team.
And he got the ball sailed on him one time. It would have been another 70 yards.
That was early in the game. Yeah, he would have had another big play.
I don't understand the Broncos' plan. Why would you just stick Surtain on him and say that was
because they weren't sold on him yet.
Yeah,
now they are. That's the next time they play.
But even as the game went on, they didn't put him on.
That's where coaches have to make adjustments. Man.
Of course.
Yeah, it's tough.
Levi Wallace, he was in quicksand.
Yeah. David Njoku, one of the most insane stat lines too. 17 targets, 52 yards, 9 catches.
He is a freak of nature, by the way.
He's a big man.
His arms are so long, dude. It's unbelievable.
Bo Nix throws a couple of picks.
I can't figure out the Bo Nix thing yet.
But he had that one insane throw to Marvin Mims.
From the 4-yard line.
But he also got away with a couple, too, that were lollipopped up in the air.
Oh, yeah. He did not. I mean, that was the most he's really.
Cortland Sutton, a couple drops, a couple underthrows from Bo Nix on these deep balls. You expect this guy to hit the deep shots now.
It's clear what they do with him, though. They don't want him standing in that pocket going through progressions. They want him getting out on the perimeter.
Yes. I mean, he's
so fast.
Yeah. So fast. And he also, when it is normal drop back concepts, he bails a lot. I mean, this guy bails quickly. He knows where his exits are more often than not. He's got a good feel for that. Now, is it sustainable to play that way? Not a lot of quarterbacks can, but he's athletic enough that it hasn't really killed him yet.
He's better than most people thought he would be and not as good as his reputation is right now.
I think that's a really good way to put it. And that's okay because he's a rookie.
Right.
He's obviously got a lot to learn. He's obviously come a long way since day one.
And he loves it, and he lives it and loves it. So
Yes.
that's the good thing about it.
He's got juice. He's got that competitive juice that you want to see from a football teammate. Like when you see your quarterback, and I heard Jason Kelce talking about this on the pregame. He's like, he does the crazy eyes every once in a while. What you don't want to see is crazy eyes all the time. You just need to know that it's in there. Bo Nix, he has that. Sean Payton, I really like Coach Payton, and I've gotten to hang out with him a few times. I know what kind of guy he is. He loves this Bo Nix guy. Sky's the limit. But right now, let's pump the brakes on,
Well, he's a weird quarterback. And he was a weird quarterback as a prospect coming out of Oregon in that, 5 years as a starter, went from play stylistically wise, just from Auburn, he was kind of like a gunslinger, really took a lot of bad chances with the football. And then Oregon, he just stopped doing that altogether by his last year there. And like I said, doesn't stand in pockets, really wants to get on the move, almost wants to not have his feet set to be more comfortable throwing the football. And so I think the fact that he's playing well already, this well, I think you feel good as a Broncos fan, but there may not be a next step in his development just because he's so developed already. It's 5 years of playing football. I don't know if there is much more developmentally from him.
So we're nearing the ceiling in terms of development?
I just don't know. It's this unique situation that he is. But I think people did underrate when they talked about Bo Nix, the fact that he is very physically gifted. That throw down the seam was not a throw that, even Bryce Young could make. That took a level of arm strength
that's a rip.
Probably about a dozen or so guys in the NFL do not have at this point.
It's funny because it almost looks like his, and you guys would know this too. Drew Brees, his arm got stronger as he got older. His arm at Purdue wasn't great, but his arm as he got, and he had reconstructed shoulder surgery. But
that's the thing; he had to relearn how to do all this. His arm
got stronger, and I think Bo Nix's arm actually looks stronger than it was at Oregon. And so that's a good thing. But
altitude.
Opening. Yeah, there you go. Opening play of the game. Was there any doubt? And the Browns knew what they were going to do. It was going to be some form of boot where he gets outside and tries to throw it. Well, what happened? Some form of boot. They were waiting for him. And they dumped him or forced a quick throw. I think the next development for him is standing there and staying there. That's the development.
I want to talk about Myles Garrett for a second and just how otherworldly this guy is from a physical standpoint, his football IQ, his bag of tricks. And then he's a guy with a bag of tricks, but he can also just beat you with the one trick. He runs the rip. He stands you up. You lose leverage. Jason Kelce did a great job talking about it in the pregame. Were you watching this when he had Marcus Spears out there running the hump on him? And Kelce did a great job of explaining the dangers that a guy like Myles Garrett can present to you. And I thought Garrett Bowles had a really, really good plan when in one-on-one pass protection with Myles Garrett. He wasn't vertically setting. He was trying to take the fight to him. He got as wide as he could with as much depth as he could, but it wasn't enough still. And I'm talking about great explosive set out of his stance, Garrett Bowles, and it's just not enough.
But what Garrett did, what did he do in the first half? He didn't do anything in the first half. But then, as
they had a lot of protection over there.
But it helped them. But look, what did he end up with, Garrett?
But he gets his one-on-one reps and he makes the most of it, regardless of how well you set.
He went into that game with only one sack in his career against Broncos in 4 games.
Wow,
didn't get any last year. It's pretty amazing.
Altitude.
Well, maybe. But then he also dropped him the coverage one time, and he got that drives me up a wall.
Well, it didn't drive you up a wall when Leonard Williams took a friggin' pick six back 90 yards.
It still drops me.
Yeah, exactly.
It still drops, but they play that differently.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. After this, going to get to Pete's Power Rankings and our Goldilocks segment.
By the way, the Power Rankings.
It's a team almost too good to be true.
You guys ain't ready for us.
Kick your game day off right as the Tops team tackles all the biggest headlines around the league.
Who's got 2 thumbs and loves this next segment?
Sunday mornings on CBS Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to Pushing the Pile. It's Tuesday, so we got Pete. So now it's time for our Power Rankings and the Goldilocks segment brought to you by Travis Matthew, clothing designed for comfort and confidence no matter where the day takes you. Pete, we read your Power Rankings. It's been harder and harder to make fun of them as the season goes because some things are just obvious.
Right. There's garbage on the bottom. There's the middle class, and then there's the elite.
Well, there's some garbage that's climbing up a little bit now, which has been fun to watch.
It is. There is some garbage moving up.
All right, let's go through the top 10 here and then the bottom 5, starting off at number 1, Detroit Lions. No movement there after they climbed up a couple weeks ago. Buffalo Bills at number 2, Kansas City Chiefs at number 3, Philadelphia Eagles at 4, Minnesota Vikings 5, Green Bay Packers 6, Pittsburgh Steelers 7, Los Angeles Chargers 8, Baltimore Ravens at 9, and then the Denver Broncos round out the top 10. Bottom 5, Patriots at 28, New York Jets at 29, New York Giants at 30, Las Vegas Raiders at 31, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars at 32. All right, who's too high?
So
who's just right? Our Goldbox table.
Too low. And it's time. It's time. Okay, so I'll start with too high. Too high, San Francisco 49ers. I think both the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears would run them out of the building.
We'll know about the Bears.
They're at 20. 49ers are at 20.
Bears and Niners play each other.
So that's my too high. So if you scroll down a little bit here, Harry, on the list, there's Niners at 20. And then we've got the Bengals behind them, which I think would rout that team. I think the Bears under Thomas Brown would destroy the San Francisco 49ers right now. And this is, this is just kind of a Homer Bears conversation. And I love Joe Burrow too. But yeah, that's my too high. San Francisco 49ers, that door has slammed shut. I mean, from the day we heard that Brandon Ayuk was having issues with that team, Brock Purdy, this is your last year of cheap. Christian McCaffrey, 50% of the snaps since 2020, not good. Nick Bosa, banged up. It's a lot of bad stuff there for the San Francisco 49ers.
So you're saying the window has slammed shut, not just for this year, but it's done.
I think their window is done until the next.
I disagree.
Until the next go around.
Just
Why?
Because
Kyle Shanahan.
you have an elite head coach. You just had an insanely good.
It was all about that core of the football team. Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. There's a lot of great coaches in the NFL. Well, there's a few of those great coaches in the NFL. I think the core of that team is past their expiration date.
Now they did have.
They've been through too much and accomplished too little to continue with this group.
I disagree with you. I think Purdy will get his deal. They'll send Debo packing, which I think Debo's not worth the money.
He's chubby at 30.
Right. They're not worth the money anyways.
They should honestly just throw him at running back the last 5 weeks here.
They need to start investing in the interior of the defensive line.
Yep.
That's where they need to invest.
Well, they had Hargrave. He got hurt. We said it after.
He's okay anyways.
He's a good player.
He's kind of overpaid a little bit.
We said it after, I think, the Cardinals game where they dropped it right at the end, the bad comeback. We're like, hey, this isn't really the same team. The last year's 49ers team wouldn't have given up that final drive to the Cardinals.
But Bosa was out that drive too, though.
Okay. But it's just, even when he's been in, the front seven is not. No. When you lose Drayden Greenlaw, when you lose Eric Armstead, when you lose Chase Young, when you lose all they had down the stretch last year, it's not the same team. And that's unfortunately what we've seen. And then you just go through their drafts, and that's really what it is. You went from 2021 through 2023 and basically didn't get a single player worth a damn. You got, like, with your early round picks, the top 100 picks over that span. Trey Lance, Aaron Banks, Trey Sermon, Drake Jackson, Tyrion Davis-Price, Jair Brown, Jake Moody.
Okay, so
top 100
Banks
picks.
starts at left guard.
Not well, but yeah.
Okay, Brown is now starting. He's now playing. Okay, go to the next year.
Those are 3 years. That's 3 years.
Oh, 3 years. Picks. Yeah, it's not good enough.
That's not good enough.
No, but they could also go back to the back end of some of those drafts and say, well, we got this guy here.
Diablo Lenore, they got in one of those. Brock Purdy, they got in one of those. But it's still, those should be your icing on the cake picks. So the top 100 should be your build a roster. Basically, my theory is every single top 100 guy should be able to play a role on your team. And when you draft so many guys that aren't playing a role on your football team.
What round was Mason picked in?
Jordan Mason. What was he, a 7th rounder?
Yeah, I mean, they found guys in the later round. What was Hufanga picked in?
5th rounder?
No, he's hurt.
6th rounder?
But again, they've kind of offset. They've missed at the. Granted, I get what you're saying; those are premium picks, but they've kind of done a really good job of offsetting it.
And they've been very good in the late rounds. Yeah. That's why I still believe it's a well-run organization. They draft well. But this is why
this team used to instill fear into people. When we watched them against Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I was like, the Chiefs are in big trouble just because of the physicality of that front on defense, both levels of it, even the third level of the defense. I haven't seen the same team this year. And you're going to have to, you're going to have to pass Brock Purdy a treasure chest, and then you're going to be trying to rebuild this group. You're going to be trying to reload at certain skill positions, and I just don't see it happening. I love Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. I have nothing against Brock Purdy, but he's going to be damn expensive, and so are rosters, Pete.
But again, like Green is starting to play a little corner, and he's a good player they're going to count on. If you can get the younger guys to come in there in cheap labor and let them play around it, and still keep Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, Ayuk when he comes back, the running back is the part of the problem. They paid him. He's not on the field.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the problem. But
we talked about it last week. I think Kyle Shanahan was misusing him after coming back. I said he was used too much. He's going to get hurt again. Lo and behold, they go out in the cold.
To Germany again, huh?
Dude, he needs to go to the Swiss Alps, get used to the cold conditions.
He went to Germany, yeah. Treatment, right? But I'm too bullish on Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Having Brock Purdy, having Trent Williams, having Nick Bosa, because he'll be back.
Trent Williams is getting up there.
Yeah, you got a couple more years with this group.
Okay, the window hasn't slammed shut, but it's closed. It's closed, and it gently closed the other night.
It would be intriguing to me if they really, their schedule is difficult. We've seen how they've looked of late. If they really lose a bunch of games down the stretch, end up with, say, pick like 8 in the draft.
Do they let Brock walk and get another quarterback on the rookie? I called my dad last night, and I was like, the Niners need to deal. Bro, I don't know. Anybody that's on a rookie deal.
Shedeur will be gone by that pick 8.
Well, I'm saying, they were drafting 12th when they went up and made the move for Trey Lance, and obviously that didn't work out.
Okay, but let me ask you this:
move up
now.
That was basically that sowed the seeds of why they stink right now. Is because they gave up 3 first rounders for Trey Lance and then didn't backfill that roster.
Okay, right now, draft guy.
Yeah,
would you trade up to go get Shedeur Sanders and let Brock Purdy walk out the door? I'm not doing that.
Specific.
I think it gives you some room in that window. It could give you a little bit of room.
It's cheaper, for sure.
You get a better roster.
I think I would.
Early in the season, we were talking about Purdy carrying the team by himself. Basically,
I think I would make that play.
I wouldn't.
I like Purdy. Don't get it twisted. I have an issue with the Niners as a whole. The money that's going to have to be shelled out to all these guys. They're 30 plus. They're all injured.
Bad weather. Everybody usually looks bad in bad weather.
You know who looked great in bad weather? James Cook, Josh Allen.
Purdy looked unplayable last year against the Packers in the playoffs. Not a good Packers.
Whopper hands. Remember that commercial? The Whopper hands commercial? I can't get that. I can't eat that Whopper. My hands are too small.
What was it? What were his hand? What's his hand size?
I think it was 9 1/8.
So it's not that small.
9 1/8.
Joe Burrow's was 9.
Yeah, it's not that small.
Yeah,
it's what is so.
Okay, if Joe's are 9, then that's wild. Then why does he not have?
He's amazing. But okay, I disagree with you. I don't think the window's closed, but they have some maneuvering to do to get it back, and they got to stay healthy.
Bro, look around the NFC right now.
If they were healthy, would you even be mentioning the fact that the window might be shutting?
Yes.
They would be dominating.
No, I just have to look around the room in the NFC and see all the other bullies that have been built. The Niners were the bully for a long time, and the Eagles were too for the end of the teens. Now it's Lions, Eagles. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and they can't even get out of their division right now.
But they also, here's another difference between the Niners and some of the other teams that we talk about, the bullies. They allowed their offensive line to become average, and it's always been average. It's always been average. Trent Williams has always been great. The rest of the group has always been average. Even when McGlinchey was there, they weren't great. He wasn't great.
He was serviceable.
McKivitz is bad. The right guard is, a kid. He's going to be a good player. The center has always been average in there. Whoever plays, from the Brunskills to the Brendels to whoever, and Banks is average. It's not a good group.
2 top 100 picks on O-line in the last 6 drafts. No,
McGlinchey is one of them.
No top 75 picks.
Yeah, see, that's
McGlinchey was
7. Yeah,
that's part of the problem.
That is definitely part of the problem, and that's what you don't have draft capital from the Trey Lance trade. That's kind of so
you got
the seeds. My team that's ranked too high is the Arizona Cardinals. Great story, well coached, just not talented enough to compete with the big dogs in the NFC. In the NFL.
Who should be ahead of them? Just out of curiosity.
I think the Texans and Bucks.
Oh, the Texans
and the Rams. I think the Rams should be ahead of them too.
The Texans have issues, and
they do. I'm not debating that.
And that's not just the quarterback either. They have issues. The defense has issues as well.
What did you think about D'Amico Ryan's comments as it pertains to
I get why he did it. He's defending his player, trying to get the suspension lower.
He victim blamed quarterbacks.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That's
but you understand why.
Excuse my French. That's bullshit.
That's a message. That's a message to the league to try and get that suspension to be smaller. He knows better. D'Amico Ryan's played the game. You know,
I
that
also
was a third.
contest that people are saying he said it was a late slide. That was like
an early slide.
That
like
was when you slide.
The slide has nothing to do with it. You know what it is? The forearm to the teeth. I mean, there are times when the guy slides late and you still get a personal foul for hitting him.
Chest glance, you glance
right.
his chest.
But he put that forearm right in his head.
That's a forearm shiver. That's what they used to do in the 80s.
And here's something else I wanted. I said this last night when I was doing our show with Baselli, and he agreed with me. There was no retaliation. What happened to an eye for an eye?
They fought.
There was a play in that.
A tussle.
No, not. I'm talking about in the second half.
Like a player getting beamed in baseball.
Correct. Like there was a play later in the game. Now he pulled off on it. Trayvon Walker might have killed C.J. Stroud on the sideline, but he pulled up on it. He could have hit him. But at some point, don't try and hurt somebody. You never want to see anybody try and hurt anybody. But at some point, you grab C.J. Stroud and you by the back of his jersey and you throw him 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, get the personal foul and say, now we're even.
We remember.
That's all you have to do. They did nothing.
Remember Pedro Martinez? He gave remember, you hit my guy.
There were people, supposedly there were players in that locker room after the game that were worried about fines for retaliation. That should never happen. That's a bad look. Bad luck.
This is a guy that's fighting to prove that he's your franchise quarterback, game in, game out. There's questions about the head coach every day in Jacksonville. The one thing that should be done without question is you stand up for your guy. So when your guy gets hit like that, to your point, not only in that very moment do you need to go put a set of cleats on that dude, it needs to happen again and again and again.
Tell me if you agree with it. Tony told me, he said that he would have not only done what Evan Ingram did, but he wouldn't let him get up.
Buddy, I'd probably be in jail.
Right.
I tweeted. I said, I'm amazed. This is multiple times this year that I have been surprised that Al-Shaair made it off the field without getting 11 sets of cleats on him.
Right. He said you wouldn't let him up. You don't let him up. They let him up. Ingram hit him, and then he let him up. You don't let him up.
No.
You don't let him get to your sideline.
Don't anything. Bring the mace out for me.
Correct.
All right, who's too low?
Too low. The Philadelphia Eagles.
That's mine as well.
Philadelphia
at
Eagles
number 4.
Too low. And
you guys are going to go in on the Chiefs. Here we go.
No, this is too low. It's because I'm the idiot that said they were pretenders 4 weeks ago. I think it was 4 weeks ago. And I cited their head coach. And then
that's a valid reason, though. Let's be real.
But then you go look at the groups that have started with his record in his first few years, and it's Hall of Fame coaches. You know what I mean? And I know he's got a Hall of Fame roster.
When he went to the bye, they were 3-11 in his last 14. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were reason for concern.
This team, top to bottom, is scary. It's really scary. And the impact that Vic Fangio has had on this defense, the same thing we say about Detroit's culture. I think Vic Fangio has taken that and run with it on the defensive side of the ball. And we've talked about it, the young guys stepping up. But then the offensive line, just their ability to bust the dam open in the second half time and time again. And it's that old adage, it's like chopping a tree down. It may not fall in the first 100 swings, but 101 and 102, you're going to start to hear that timber creak. And then that thing's going to come towards the earth. And that's what we see every week. And that travels. That is playoff football. You're going to need probably a little bit more out of Jalen Hurts come time for the playoffs.
That's the one concern.
But less is more.
When you get that
with Jalen Hurts.
But there's Barkley's averaging 4.2 per rush before contact. That's amazing.
And breaking
I heard the other day that he has 13 touchdowns now where he hasn't been touched. That's the offensive line. I mean, they're so good.
Yes.
But so who should they be ahead of? Everybody?
I think they're the best team in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
they should be ahead of everybody.
Do we conveniently forget that Jacksonville was on the 8-yard line with a 1st and goal?
Okay, but they had that.
And then they ran a wheel route to Dearness Johnson.
Remember when Arizona was beating Buffalo? Remember when the Kansas City Chiefs were losing to the Carolina Panthers?
Early in the year. This was 4 weeks ago.
They had the fluke
fumble.
Walker fumble return.
I get it, but
That was
they also
suspect.
if they don't call a stupid wheel route to Dearness Johnson on first down, they might win the game.
Well, it's the Jaguars.
And I know Detroit's number one. And I know
I'm worried about Detroit.
Detroit has just sustained too many injuries.
I'm worried about Detroit.
We were all talking about Aiden Hutchinson. Now we're talking about a list that's like 8 players long for Aaron Glenn's defense.
Now Rodriguez is out. Anzalone's out. They lost Wingo's out now. Somebody else. Carlton Davis didn't play. I mean, they're hurt on that side of the ball.
You can make a good argument that the Eagles have the best defense in the NFL. I'll make the argument.
Yes.
I think they have the best defense in the NFL right now. They have, since their bye week,
linebackers front
20 points in a game.
13 points a game.
They've played the Bengals, the Commanders, the Ravens, and the Rams over that time frame.
Yeah.
4 of
potent offenses.
top 8 offenses in the NFL. Like, they've been challenged. None of them have been able to penetrate this Eagles defense.
Do you worry about the edge rushers? Because now there's no Graham, because that's the weakness of that team right now.
Yes, a little, just in terms of if we're talking about pure dominance, but it's not as if Nolan Smith is athletic enough to like track down quarterbacks when they scramble. And then Jalen Carter is so dominant.
He gets held every play. Jalen Carter gets held every single play.
Is he the best there is right now?
Chris Jones.
He's damn good.
It's close. When he wants to be,
they're different players.
When he wants to be, he is.
They are different players. And man, oh man,
Jordan Davis was really good last week.
Yeah, and it helps when he's got 4 sets of hands.
But he's been like, the guy who gets no due is Milton Williams is a good player.
Milton Williams has been very good this year too.
And Vaughn has been amazing. And Dean can cover. I mean, the corners are good.
I love what they do with the linebackers and the front. One thing that we see a lot of times with these groups that are athletic up front is they can run those games, TT, TE. But now they bring Zach Bond up into the B gap. They're running TEs off the linebackers. They're taking up these rushing lanes for quarterbacks. It's dangerous.
People were wondering preseason what this linebacker core could be an issue. We got a guy who hasn't started in 3 years because he's tiny, and a guy who was an edge rusher for 4 years in New Orleans. What's this going to look like? They're one of the best 5 linebacker duos in the NFL right now.
They're playing outstanding football.
So it really is every single level of that Eagles defense. I mean, that's how you get to be the best defense in the NFL, but every single level.
And they're not going to, by the way, they might not lose another game. Yeah. Because you look at their schedule, they play the Steelers, but other than that, they close with
at Commanders too. But they have 3 cupcake games with the Panthers, Cowboys, and Giants. So
Commanders were rolling.
I think they're too low. I think 4. I think they're 1 or 2 right now. They're just playing at that level. All right, who's just right?
Just right, and I don't even know their number on this list. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're my Goldilocks team. You know what? They got pretty lucky
in the middle.
Last game there. Okay, Adam Thielen, that was a catch. Chuba Hubbard, that sucks. He's probably still sitting on the bench after the game.
Like a pool report on that one, because
they said he didn't have it by the time.
Did they say they couldn't see?
No, they said he didn't have it when he went. By the time he felt his elbow hit the ground.
Well, see, that's absolute.
Yeah, I thought he caught it.
Mike Evans back.
They couldn't see the ball the whole time, so they couldn't say for sure if it didn't wobble or not. So they couldn't overturn it. But why
don't they just put a camera in the little padding on the goalpost?
But Tampa's getting healthier, which is the most important thing. And I think they're going to win the division.
They're going to just continue to climb this rank every week.
And here's the other thing. When they get in, they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs because they're getting their guys back.
Yep.
They've played all year with nobody in that back end. I mean, guys in and out. And Cansey's starting to make plays. And Cansey missed, 6-7 weeks?
Mike Evans, is he going to get to 1,000 yards?
That's going to be tough to do.
I think Baker will make it happen.
Feed him.
It's just warm enough in Tampa to make this thing happen.
Yeah, feed him.
I have my team that's just right. The Goldilocks team. I'll go with Falcons at 19. We'll stay in the NFC South. They're not a playoff team right now. They're not that good. They have amazing skill talent, right? Whether it's running back, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback on the opposite side of the ball, safety on the opposite side of the ball. They're good at those positions. They are weak at quarterback and in the trenches defensively. That's not a great combination.
Would you make the change?
No, not this week.
I don't think you can make the change and you're in the hunt.
Yeah, I don't think I would. Just because why you're putting expectation on Michael Penix.
Now there's some people saying that he would give you that boost.
Now if it's like 2 more weeks of this, yeah.
Yeah, 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks of this.
2 more weeks if you might have to. But is Kirk? We talk about Aaron Rodgers being done and looking awful and everything. Is the same applying to Kirk Cousins?
I said early in the season the arm was just not there.
No.
He did not. Kirk's arm, and that's the biggest thing.
Sounds like a kazoo when he throws.
That was unfortunately Matt Ryan's.
Why is the PFF guy still in the shot and the pistol all the time? By the way, wasn't Zach Robinson a PFF guy?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably because Kirk can't move. I don't know. And they want to.
There's got to be a reason for that.
Keep it balanced.
Because they did it in week 1 and it didn't work, and then they got away from it and started working, and now they're back to it again. There's got to be something at play there.
He's sore.
Yeah,
that thing's got to be getting sore. Look, I mean, we're lucky we get to do this Travis Matthew segment every week, Pete. But I got to tell you, if you don't show up wearing a full Travis Matthew outfit next week, we're going to give you either a noogie, a wedgie, or a strange combination.
I got pants. They sent me pants. But as in usual Pete Prisco fashion, I have to go get those pants hemmed.
Okay, well they're so comfortable. It'll be worth doing it.
I got to get them in. Because my short little legs.
So here's the great thing about Travis Matthew, and Mike can attest to this. We're new Florida residents, and we saw how hot it was in the summer, and I was able to wear my Travis Matthew, even like my waffle shirts. I can wear them.
I love the waffle shirt. I do have that. I do have that.
It's the best shirt that was ever made.
I need the blue one.
In my opinion.
Do you know why I need the blue one?
But it's been cold here recently, right, Pete?
I need the blue one.
Why do I need the blue one?
I can just throw on
look like mini me next to him.
I can throw on the vest now. They make the great vest. It's light. I go for the walks in the morning, go get coffee with the kids. All Travis Matthew. I get mad compliments at Starbucks. People are like, "That's a nice look there." I'm like, "Check out Travis Matthew."
It's the most comfortable. It is so comfortable. What do you got? Shoes too?
Yeah, the jeans actually go hit golf balls in because they're
what?
Comfortable. I mean, I can.
Yeah, they're like athletic jeans.
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
They're great.
They breathe well.
Come to Daddy. Daddy needs, but of course I have to take it. Of course, I have to take him to the tailor and spend a week there getting hemmed at $20 a pop.
But I'm saying it makes you confident and it is comfortable. So.
You guys are so lucky, man. You get pants, you just buy them, and you don't have to get anything worked on.
Oh, you're right.
Huh?
Yeah,
you're right.
Sucks.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break after this. Gonna embrace debate.
This will be fun.
First up, is this the Bills' year?
What does that mean?
Well,
you know what it means.
It means that, yes, this is. I picked it before the season. Having been there for 2 days in training camp, I love that team, and I think it's perfect the way they play for Josh Allen. By the way, we haven't seen the group together but one game since Amari Cooper got there. Keon Coleman's been hurt. Mm-hmm. Kincaid's been hurt. When those guys get together, oh my gosh, that offense is going to be explosive. I love what they're doing. You get Milano back. That's big. Yeah, they still have problems against the run, which they got to get, better against the run. I think losing the rookie from North Carolina, Carter, hurt them in the run game. He was starting to play well there. I do think they're the best team, the team that will win. This is their year. I think.
It pains me to admit that you're right.
Yeah.
I got to be right about something. This is the Bills' year. And I love the Kansas City Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes is still, in my opinion, the best quarterback on the face of the planet. They're going to get healthier, but I don't even think it's enough to deal with this Bills team. And I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed for saying that.
You know what I'm a little worried about? The Ravens getting the last wild card. And the Bills getting the 2 seed. That's what I'm a little worried about.
Playing the
because
Ravens
the last time they looked overmatched.
Yeah, but
if they looked overmatched in a game, it was that game.
But that was also on the road, a night game, and they were, by the way, they were getting back in that game before the idiot call for the end around, whatever the flea flicker crap that they ran. So I think the run game is a concern when you play the Ravens. Obviously, and that's a worry for the Bills. But I also think playing that Ravens defense doesn't scare anybody anymore.
True. I would say I'm not quite ready to go in there, so I'll say no.
Okay.
See, that's why I want to know, what does this mean? But in terms of the AFC, this is
you would take
they feel like a team of destiny right now.
You would probably take the field over the Bills, obviously, but to me, if you had to pick one team, you would pick the Bills.
If I were to pick one team that scared me for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, will Mike Tomlin end his career without having a losing season?
Yes. It's just clearly going to happen.
If he's got Russ, if Russ signs there for the next few years.
What he's done with this team is amazing. It really is. And the Steeler fans, I said there's still a video of me circulating before the season with BMAC where I said they'd be the worst team in the division, and the Steelers fans every week. But I didn't hear from them last week, by the way, after they lost in the snow to Cleveland. But this week they're back out again.
They kill me now, and they tag you in it.
Yeah,
like I've been involved in the Pittsburgh hatred.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and you know every time we say something about the Steelers, there's a site that pulls it out and puts it on there, and so they just
the herewego.com or whatever it is.
They fan the flames, and so look. I think Tomlin's a great coach, all-time great coach, and every year his team is ready to play tough, physical football. And they're not even doing the things. I mean, they don't run the ball that well for a team that you would think does, and they don't. What is a yards per rush?
It's like not 3.
And Russell was fantastic last week, but he played a JV defense. Let's be real.
And I've said this time and time again. If the Steelers want to make a run, I don't trust it because I can't count on 14. I can't count on George Pickens in the big moments.
You get a personal foul or
sportsmanlike
conduct.
I do think Tomlin probably has a losing season, but only because he's only 52 years old. He's going to coach.
He's going to coach for 18 more years.
He'll eventually. It catches up to you. He'll eventually have a losing season. But what he's
I say no. Let's revisit this in 20 years.
Perfect.
If I'm alive.
Yeah. I'll come see you.
To visit the grave. Hey, you were wrong.
He finally lost.
I'll be alive. Because I know what my plan is. 105 years old, sitting on the couch in a diaper, complaining about bad quarterback play.
You have good genes.
Yeah, my dad's 80. He turns 89 next week.
He said he's sharp. He's energetic. Smart ass.
Yeah, smart ass.
The best.
He bitches about bad quarterback play too.
Runs in the family. All right. Next one. Brock Bowers will or should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation.
By the way, it also, God rest my mother's soul, because she used to sit on the couch and go, run, pass, run, pass, when the Giants was a Giants fan. And so I told Sims that, and he goes, well, we won a Super Bowl that way, didn't we? And I go, yeah, you did.
He got pissed.
But yeah, so they ran in the family. No, what
Bowers should be in the Rookie of the
Year.
Yes.
It is crazy how
100%.
Everyone's just like, oh, it's Nick Sirianni's, but he's having not only the best rookie tight end season of all time. I mean, far and away.
Maybe the rookie season.
He might break the single season rookie receptions record. He already has 84 through 12 games.
Who holds that?
He's leading all rookie receivers with 884 receiving yards. I mean, he's doing things week in and week out with just every quarterback under
Is
the sun
he the best tight end in the NFL right now?
In terms of just receiving, yes. As a receiver.
Would you take him?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah. I said it coming out. I was like,
we can go through the list.
Right.
You know?
I couldn't believe the sort of poo-pooing. And it felt like almost like the Saquon Barkley, Joe Shane, that whole, you can't pay a running back that much. You can't draft a tight end in the top 10. Have you watched Brock Bowers' tape? He was on, I kept going back to this. He was on the national title team his freshman year that had Ladd McConkey, that had Jermaine Burton, that had Adonai Mitchell, 3 top 100 picks at wide receiver. He had 300 more receiving yards than anyone else on that team. Why was he the guy that was featured on a team that was a national championship team as a true freshman? Why?
Greg Olson said it his freshman year. He was like, this dude right here is going to be like a Hall of Fame type.
Well, it didn't help him that his body looked like the man of a 40-year-old.
That was probably the only thing, was he's built like a CPA.
He's built like a guy at the YMCA who plays basketball in his 40s.
That's a great comp, actually. You see that guy at every YMCA in America. It's like
he's got the patellar tendonitis.
And he's knock-kneed. He's knock-kneed. There was a picture of him at the Super Bowl, and it started circulating around, and everybody looked at it. I looked at it, and I go, oh, my God, it's horrible. Here's the other thing. He was not a big recruit coming out. He was also ran throw-in. I mean, I think he played it. He's from Tampa, I think. Or Tampa.
Brock Bowers?
No,
he's from Napa.
Yeah,
he's from Napa, California. But he wasn't a big recruit, right?
Well, they were all too drunk. They were all too drunk to figure out what they were looking at.
Didn't he go to IMG, though? Maybe?
Could have. No? I don't know. But I know he's from Napa, California.
Yeah. But I tell you what, he's special, and he should be in consideration for rookie.
And it's not even just standard tight end routes. The guy's out there running posts. He's running corners. He's running underneath.
The hands are amazing.
He just looks smooth. There's some guys that are just God-given, like talent-wise.
He's the best tight end. Right now, he's the best tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
Which I feel as if, again, Rookie of the Year should not be
a quarterback-only award.
Yeah, it shouldn't be It shouldn't go towards any positional value. It should be just like vacuum. How good are you compared to your position? When you are, as a rookie, the best player of your position, bar none. And I think at this point, again, we're discussing it. And at worst, he's the second or third.
Well,
at worst.
Where would you? Okay, who would you put ahead of him right now?
I mean, Kittle
because he blocks because he's a better blocker, but
it's not.
The numbers are like not even in the ballpark, right?
Exactly. And as a receiver, there's no.
And Bowers isn't a good blocker, but he's a willing blocker.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they already have a guy in there who's going to put his hand in the ground.
That's the other thing about you go back to the draft on the tight end position. Well, does he block well enough? Draft him to catch footballs and figure out the blocking part of it for somebody else.
You net way more positive with a tight end with a guy who can go catch the ball and
go
be a
catch the
threat.
ball.
Third down, first down, second down.
Good enough where if you just want him to be a slot receiver, he's a difficult slot receiver.
Well, it's like the kid in Carolina, the kid from Texas, Sanders, and got Rick Spielman and me had this argument. He's like, it doesn't block anybody. I go, you find a way to make it work when a guy can catch the football and get him in mismatch situations.
I mean, Travis Kelce is not necessarily the best blocker we've ever seen.
Evan Ingram
isn't
the best blocker.
They can line Kelce up anywhere.
Right.
Early Kelce, anywhere, and he'd be dominant.
He's not a good blocker as an inline tight end, but as a slot receiver, he's an awesome blocker. Adding on blocking a safety or a
MDM, come on.
And this goes back to where offenses are as a whole right now. They're allowing defenses to dictate to them, and so when you get a player like Brock Bowers, you start dictating to them because 100%. You can move them around.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, true or false? Another coach will be fired before the end of the season.
I don't want to yell the one that I think, but
yeah, you are. Yell it.
Week in, week out, press conferences from the New England Patriots piss me off. They bother me. They're not going to fire him, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
How long's that leash?
Yeah, but where do you? So who gets fired? If we think there's one that's going to get fired, who's going to get it? I don't think Doug Peterson's going during the season.
You don't think so?
No, he would have been gone.
He would have gone already. Yeah. What was the game where was it the
Lions game? They would have, and then they went to the bye and he kept them. They're not firing
52-7 or something.
Yeah, it was brutal. Worst loss in franchise history. But they go to the bye.
They're not firing Table. Yeah, I don't think
McCarthy's getting fired next year.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Gerard Mayo is a great coach and a great guy.
By the way, I think Mike McCarthy's a better coach than people give him credit for, and Jerry's plan has unraveled, and that's why he's going to keep him.
We heard Mayo say, there were times where we held on to those timeouts. We've won Super Bowls holding on to those timeouts, and it reminded me of when John Fox was our coach. And John Fox would do the first meeting of the week, the team meeting. The entire team's in there. The big projector screen. It's got a picture. Let's say we're playing Detroit. It's a picture of Sue. It's a picture of whoever. And then at the bottom, there's a random record like 5-1 or 8-2. And he's like, that record at the bottom is my record against this team. And we'd all look around like, hey, dude, like we don't do that. Like, what?
But I also would have said, who?
That's my point. And when Mayo's talking about us, one of the best championship runs ever with the New England Patriots, I'm like, this is not that.
No,
I'd be scratching my head listening to my head coach give that press conference.
He's had a pattern of saying dumb things.
He has said a few things. He called his team soft, and there's a few other quotables I don't have written down, but every week.
But he's not getting fired. Not after one year.
He's not getting fired.
So who else could it be?
Dable.
Nah.
They're not going to fire him. I will say I haven't been impressed with Brian Callahan.
No,
but he ain't getting fired.
He's not getting fired either 1 year.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else is even.
Look, we don't want to call for people's jobs.
No. So I'll say no.
No one's getting fired. All right. Who's the team most likely to go on a winning streak?
Bucks.
And get into the playoffs?
Bucks. And Mike Evans has got Jerry Rice records to contend with.
And be dangerous.
Yeah. Can win shootouts.
And getting guys back on defense is important for them.
Yep.
Dean's back. Now you compare him to McCollum. You're going to get Tyke Smith back. Winfield hasn't been as good this year. He's starting to play better. You get those guys going, and that's the most important thing is getting guys healthy again. And getting Cansey back is big. That gives him a 1-2 punch inside. Diaby's a good player, and he went on a little bit of a lull. I still worry about the linebacker next to David. It's been a problem. KJ Britt's a good run player. He can't cover anybody, so teams have taken advantage of that.
who is the team that's likely to go on a losing streak and miss out on the playoffs? Obviously, I think the Falcons are the flip side of that, but anyone else you see possible?
Falcons, I don't really see anybody else going on a slide like the Atlanta Falcons.
I think you could pretty much pencil in a lot. Like in the AFC can the only team that has a chance to break through in the AFC is the Colts.
Yeah.
And they play at Denver after the Broncos bye.
I do think that the Seahawks could also go on a losing streak. They have a tough schedule.
Arizona this week at Arizona.
They
Green
just
Bay.
pummeled Arizona.
They didn't pummel.
Well, that offensive line got absolutely destroyed by the Seattle Seahawks front.
They did.
Arizona,
That's what I consider a pummeling.
Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Los Angeles Rams is their final 5
Where's the Rams game at?
at the Rams.
Where's the Seahawks game? Or where's the Bears game?
The Bears game is at Chicago.
Yeah,
Watch out now.
They have a chance to go on a little bit of a losing streak. If they lose this week,
It would surprise me if they lost all 5. I mean, it'd be a little surprising, but that's a possibility. It's not that there's any way.
that's definitely a possibility. 1 and 4 is possible for sure.
All right, we're going to go to our draft segment. This time, we're doing the best running backs of all time. Just the best. And we're going to draft 3 per person. And I believe it's me kicking it off. It was you last week. It's Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is the best running back of all time.
Love Barry.
He's
Try
wrong.
to name an offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions from that era. You can't. You probably can't. But most people can't.
Lomas
because
Brown.
It was Barry.
Defensive lineman.
Lomas Brown was good. Lomas Brown was really good.
Okay, you're up. Take my pick.
Jim Brown.
Walter Payton.
No.
Sweetness.
Jim Brown. Jim Brown was phenomenal. I mean,
Sweetness.
he was big, strong, fast, could run away from people. Jim Brown. 3 backs in the history of the league have 2,500 carries and averaged over 4.6 per rush.
Let's reframe
know who they are?
the question.
You know who they are?
No.
Barry,
Jim Brown
Brown.
twice.
Jamal Charles.
Fred Taylor.
Oh, Fred Taylor.
Let's reframe the question. I mean, we're going to keep the question the same, but it would be like if you had to pick one back for a game instead of like who's the best all time. I feel like
At their peak. Should we do that at their peak? And then,
Jim Brown.
okay.
Walter Payton.
I'm going to trend more recently because obviously
Walter threw the ball too. That was my next pick.
Adrian Peterson's still at the combination of power and speed I hated when the Packers would play the Vikings I still remember 2012, last game of the season. I was like, how can we just not stop this guy? Like, yeah,
Godlike.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when we went for 2K.
I'm going old school again. The Juice. The Juice was 6'2", 220, was a track guy, ran for 2,000 yards in a 14-game season when everybody knew he was getting the football. He was unbelievable, and he never, ever gets the due he deserves. Now, part of that is because of what happened later on in life, but the bottom line is the Juice was a great running back.
I'm going to take my old man's word on this one. And I've often asked him who the most impressive person he ever played with was. And you're going to guess who I'm going to say. It's Bo Jackson. When Bo Jackson was healthy.
They didn't do it long enough, though.
But we're talking about at his peak.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody like Bo Jackson. No. Ain't nobody like Bo Jackson.
No, Bo was big, fast, physical, all of it.
I'm got a debate for this last pick. I really want, LT.
Yeah, I was going to say LT.
Unbelievable. Chris Johnson at his peak, that 09 season was
CJ2K.
No one moved as quickly as he's did on a football field. But I think I'm going to go Derrick Henry just because.
Skinny Eddie Lacy. He was a
Derrick
beast,
Henry
by the way.
Doesn't matter. Every single year. Guy, stack boxes, nothing else. Doesn't matter. He's going for 1,600 plus yards. He's gone for 2,000 this season. He might go for 2,000 this year. Derrick Henry.
Saquon didn't get named.
And he didn't get named by me because I'm taking my guy, Fred Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a season where Fred Taylor, I think, had 10 straight games of 100 yards. He was phenomenal. He was 6'1", 230, timed under 4.3, jump cut, lined up wide against Rod Woodson in a game once, who was one of the fastest men ever to play, ran by him for a 78-yard touchdown pass down the sideline. He was special, and he definitely doesn't get the due he deserves.
Okay, if I had a fourth pick, honorable mention, any running back that lined up in the Chicago Bears backfield from 2013 to 2015. Anybody. We're going for 200. Don't care. Put you back there. We're going to get 250.
I get that.
Do we think, to go back to Derrick Henry, because I'm looking it up right now, he's 30 years old. Realistically, has not slowed down. I mean, if you slow down, it's like a touch from his peak. He is 24th right now, all-time rushing leader, 10,909 yards.
Yeah, long way to go to get Emmett.
1,835 to get Emmitt Smith. So that's, let's see. If he goes 1,500 yards, he needs about 5 more seasons of 1,500 yards.
He's on the TB12 diet.
That's the thing, is he takes amazing care of his body. He's a guy that doesn't take big shots purely by the nature of how big he is. Like, he doesn't take a lot because he can get
The glancing blows.
But
glancing blows and get his arms out there to.
Didn't we think he started slowing down a little bit last year? His yards per carry.
Their Titans offensive line was just.
It was bad, but the yards per carry was way down too.
He still had.
I don't know if he just changed that diet and lifestyle, but that stuff matters, man. And when you can show up week in, week out and live the way that he does.
Here's the other part of it.
If he gets 3 more years, though, in the league at basically the guy we've seen right now, and with the Ravens especially, he's going to put up yardage with next to Lamar Jackson. So 3 more years, he's top 5 all-time in rushing.
Yeah.
If at this pace.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh,
he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like,
he'll walk off the field and into Canton. David Baker will be waiting for him in the locker room.
He's different. I don't know if you guys ever read the story about, he's from Yulee, which is a small little town north of Jacksonville, about with the kids. They went and talked to the kids who tackled him in high school.
No.
I mean, because it's a small school, so they played small schools.
Yeah.
So all these kids were like,
They all remember.
oh my God, can you imagine? Because he was that big in high school.
he had his high school
It's like playing
stats.
Shaq in high school.
Every time you look at his high school stats, I got to pull them up. Because
It's
every time you
ridiculous.
look
He
at
had
him,
like 500 carries, something like that.
out of this world.
That Yulee is a stoplight.
1,500 carries, something like that.
So he had his final year. He had 462 carries, 4,261 rushing yards.
And he did that for 4 years.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, since he walked into the school,
Yeah.
there was a game where
So he had, as a freshman, 2,465 yards.
Well, he was bigger than everybody else. The minute he walked in,
Averaged, he had 1,397 carries in 4 years.
that's another.
So I
but
was
that-
right, 1,500.
But that's another
ballpark.
thing. That's another thing.
Unbelievable.
Is he's going to start wearing down? Because I know he's big and he's physical and he takes care of himself. But that's a lot of high school carries. That's a lot of college carries.
It really was the most used running back in the modern era.
But to Mike's point, the smaller backs, the more average, everyday run-of-the-mill backs, they take big hits. Derrick Henry does not take big hits.
No.
So he's got a couple marathons behind him in terms of yards gained.
I still don't think he's going to play enough to get Emmett, but he will get into the top 5.
Emmett, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is funny that Emmett's number 1, and we wouldn't even think of putting him in the top 10.
I'll be honest with you. I would have taken Emmett over Walter Payton, but sorry.
Wow.
Fighting words on the desk.
Sweetness?
You got to go look inside a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
I love the Walter Payton stuff. And also, you have to keep in mind, every day I practice underneath a giant mural of 34.
Walter Payton was violent and ran tough and hard. I mean,
he was an artist.
He was a great player.
Who's the one back?
Who's your third pick?
Oh, my third pick was Derrick Henry. I had Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry.
Okay.
You had Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, Fred Taylor, and then Kyle, you had Walter Payton, Bo Jackson. Who was your third one, actually?
Anybody who ran behind me.
By the way, if we had a,
You've seen the film.
if our guys had a sprint to see who would win, mine would win easily. By the way,
How about I'll throw a dark horse in here. Jamal Charles
Charles is great.
didn't play long enough.
could do everything.
Did he?
Could do everything.
Yeah, he was
Well, that's
great.
why I was saying, who's a guy who you wouldn't put on this list because he wasn't good for long enough, but whose peak was such that you're like, man, he was.
I got a good Jamal Charles story.
Chris Johnson's one of them.
Chris Johnson's definitely one of them where his peak was out of this world.
Pro Bowl 2014. They were everybody was a right guard. So they were like, you have to play left guard. And begrudgingly, I went over there and played left guard. I was just happy to be there. And the first play they called 34, which is to the right. And me being an idiot, I did my right guard assignment. I took my steps for right guard, and I didn't even touch the 3 technique in front of me. Oh, no, I got the line. It was supposed to be a double team to a linebacker, and I just rode the double team to the wrong linebacker. Linebacker comes scot-free and absolutely kills Jamal Charles. in a Pro Bowl game. This isn't supposed to happen.
Right.
That was the worst I ever felt as a player because I didn't know this guy. He doesn't know that I usually know what I'm doing, but I was on the wrong side. And to this day, if I ever see Jamal Charles, I'll be like, dude, I'm so
Did he
sorry.
say anything to you?
No, he's such a great guy. You know, I think he was like, well, that sucked and just moved on. But me, I haven't let that go. I'll never forget that. I got Jamal Charles crushed.
He's one of those guys that would definitely be at the and when his peak. Jamal Charles was out. Peak Jamal Lewis was outstanding.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Peak Edgerrin James.
Big. Jamal Lewis was so big.
I always thought Fred was better than that. Before he tore his knee up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peak Steven Jackson.
Oh, so unappreciated playing at the Ed Jones Dome. Nobody was watching.
He had the 7th most yards in a single season from scrimmage.
He looked like the Predator running down the field with those braids coming out of his helmet, and he was just like
The funny thing,
jacked.
Saquon keeps going. He's going to be on that group.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. Your running back draft all time. We'll be back tomorrow answering your guys' mailbag questions. As always, leave a 5-star review on our podcast with a question. We'll answer on the show. If not, just hit us up on X when we tweet out X out the call for questions. Until next time,
Sweetness.
keep pushing.